And welcome back, friends! This should be the climactic conclusion of Prey. We are in Psychotronics now, with apparently no power on our suit. We can fix this electricity so we don't get zapped yet again by it. We have 133 spare parts and we need 3 to fix it. I think we can make that sacrifice. Alright. We got lots of bullets for everything. I think it's safe to go ahead and we'll use a med kit and we will fill our suit back up to full integrity. This is crazy. Oh gosh, there's mimics. So I don't know if this is the right part or not. I am stuck. Come on. Lose a whole bunch of health because we get stuck on terrain. It says the heart of the coral is back this way. Or maybe we go up. Every time you shoot this, you drive back the tendrils.
System alert. Repair is needed. Please contact.
Okay, that's very clearly the heart of the coral right there. Oh gosh. There's little bogers. Let's try opening the containment shield. See if that does anything for us. Perhaps not. We'll continue down this way, and I think maybe the door over here shall finally open. Alright.
Microgravity detected.
Alright, the heart of the coral is right here. So I guess, do we put the null wave transmitter right on it? Yes. Alright, this is going to get a hard save right here because this is a point of no return. I do believe.
Kill them.
Adrenaline and another dose of Morgan cell lights. Do it.
Attention tourists, come to the bridge. We can finish this thing once and for all. Assume Alex's plan succeeds. Then what? You're taking a massive gamble that there aren't more predators like the Typhon. In the history of the universe, humans have only recently become self-aware. Yet you're going to kick the door open on a much wider and older cosmic ecology. One that feeds on consciousness. These are shark-infested waters. Alex believes we can be the bigger shark. But what if we're just poor swimmers, and now there's blood in the water?
January is basically trying to reason with us. Basically playing it's all a big guessing game of a mix of who thinks they're right and why. A big ethics conundrum.
Morgan, Speedway, what's the update on our
Hell have you done?
We acted on Morgan's orders.
Speedy recovery, and we are making our way to the ship. I informed him of the threat to the station.
Bye, January.
Terminals linked up again. It should only take a few seconds for a signal to propagate through the coral and lobotomize every Typhon on Talos 1, including the big one outside. The rest of us should get away with a mild headache. I'll let you do the honors, but you better hurry.
Alright, we're transmitting the null wave device. Oh, we beat the game without killing anyone. That's a good achievement. Wow.
What is a neuromod? Well, it's both an easy answer and a complicated one at the same time. It is the future, today. More importantly, our past, today. This is the work TranStar does. Every employee working together. It's immortality, and it is beautiful.
Now it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind.
So it appears that we have
Now it's time to beat the mind.
beat the game. And the station's intact, so people are starting to move about and work in the station, I guess, as if it were normal. This is the crew quarters right here that we're seeing. So, having beat Prey, I have a number of very mixed feelings about this game, and I know you guys have probably heard me say this at some point before, but I swear I thought I just heard a mimic. All right, but I do want to go into my review. Wait a minute. Now people are running. Uh-oh. Is this actually happening on the station after we have defeated the Typhon, deployed the null wave device? Or is this how it all went down in the first place? Or is this just meant for our pure entertainment? Alright, I'm going to try to do this video review while we are seeing what's going on in the station here. So, Prey. Overall, I really liked the game. I really enjoyed it. And hey, there's one of those nightmare things. It's a very well-made game. The graphics may not be quite as crisp. Honestly, like, the graphics almost look at times like BioShock. And they feel kind of that way too. This game, it mixes, I think, some of the atmosphere of BioShock. It mixes kind of the character customization of Deus Ex and how that plays out on the world and how you navigate around it. and I feel like it almost has some of the feel of Half-Life as well in there. Like, it takes from a lot of very good games, and it takes pieces of them, and it puts them together in this, and it does it very well. Okay, wait. Let's see if anything is coming after the credits here. Or if we're going to black credits. Alright, cool.
So fast, sailing ships, the outer rim, the end.
So the game is a sum of its parts, and most of those parts are very good. There are a few of those parts that are very frustrating. Early on in the game, I absolutely adored the game. When I first started into the game, I thought this was a 9 to a 9.5 easy, or a 90 to a 95 easy. But, you know, I soon discovered our friend, or enemy I should say, the load screens. The load screens are all over a minute, sometimes a minute and a half. And as the game progressed, you hit more of these load screens. And then towards the end of the game, as we were trying to clear out side quests, I ended up hitting, you know, to get to this side quest, we have to go through multiple areas, and we hit 2 to 3 load screens. And I became really frustrated when we started hitting 3-4 minutes at a time of load screens to get from where we were to where we needed to be. And then if we had to come back, then we hit the same thing. And that honestly broke up the action to such a strong extent for me that it really hurt my game experience. It really broke up any feel of being immersed in the world that I had early on. Early on, it was just absolutely wonderful. I loved the mimics as enemies, the fact that they could pop out from anywhere. And I just loved that, you know, early on you were just like fighting for your life. You barely had enough resources. You had to consider where to run and where to fight. You know, you had to be scrappy, and you had to be clever, and you had to really exhaust the environment. You had to find everything, find every neuromod you could, every piece of ammo, every piece of food, and you were relying on that. And later in the game, as you become more powerful, a lot of that becomes trivialized, and then all you see are the load screens, or that's what it felt like to me. So one of the things that the game does extremely well, though, is this game is a lot about player choice. The choices it gives you: do you kill people? Do you let them live? You know, ultimately, down in the very end, do you destroy the station, or just deploy the device that's going to destroy all of the aliens that are killing everybody and save the space station? You know, do you side with your brother, or do you side with the consciousness of Morgan Yu put into this little robot that's telling you you need to destroy the station, and that everybody must die and whatnot? There are so many things you can do, and there's different consequences for it. Different quests open up depending on what you do. Different ways for the game to end. We're going to be looking in a couple of our next videos at some of the other endings and how things play out differently if you say decide to destroy the ship. You know, the gameplay, it was pretty fun. Like, the combat itself is nothing super special. It feels a little clunky at times, but as the game goes on, you know, you feel more powerful, and then it's a little more forgivable. Early on, it just trying to smack these stupid little mimics with a wrench as they dance around can be infuriating, and like I said, sometimes it just feels a little clunky, and that's not too bad of a thing. I enjoyed it overall. The biggest draw of the game is running around the environment, exploring, trying not to poop yourself when mimics pop up. Hey, we got a load screen. We've seen these before. Oh, a hidden location. This is new. So yeah, I've heard everybody call the game atmospheric, and that it very obviously and definitely is. As you've been seeing us play this game, you know, it's very easy to get wrapped up in everything. We're going to pause our review here and see what is coming up next here, though.
How did it do?
Activation of the mirror neurons is promising. Empathy quotient shows to be exceptionally high.
It probably thinks it was dreaming, but nothing mattered.
You're assuming it thinks like us.
Its life depends on it. Ours too. It all comes down to the choices it made.
It saved me from the cargo container. I would have suffocated otherwise. And later, it recovered the Lightner connectomes. They were of no practical use, except that they were deeply meaningful to me. It installed multiple Typhon-based neuromods. It could mean an instinctive return to its own kind, or an attempt to integrate its dual natures. But its most surprising act was sparing Dar. While perhaps for purely selfish reasons, this, at least in principle, enabled others to escape Talos 1.
Michaela,
I would have died without my medication. That wasn't easy. That says a lot, I think, about its heart. Can I say that it has a heart? It also found my father's records. And then, I did not expect this, but it let me listen to them. Despite the self-incriminating content, it was willing to make itself vulnerable. Then, there was a man in psychotronics, Ingram. It let him go. Was that mercy?
would you let it live?
Yes.
Sarah, you're next.
The situation in the cargo bay was bad. None of us would have survived without its help. And it destroyed a large number of Typhon across the station. That has to be a good sign. Further, it thwarted Dar's attempt to use us as hostages. If it were one of my officers, I would give it a commendation.
Danielle, what do you say?
It found me. It didn't need to, but it did. I asked it to stop Volunteer 37. That was dangerous. No way to be sure, but I think it has a sense of retribution. There were a lot of humans controlled by the Typhon that it could have harmed. Seems like it went out of its way to avoid that. I think it's worth the risk.
In the end, it chose to activate the null wave device. Why? To preserve the Typhon technology? We can't really know what its motives were for anything it did.
This is deep.
But we had to make a choice. You can hear us, can't you? Here. I want to show you something.
What's it gonna show us? Okay.
What you experienced was a reconstruction based on Morgan's memories. This is the world today. You spent years trying to put what you can do into us. We never tried putting what we can do into you. Until now. You're the bridge between our species. I need to know if you see us. I mean, really see us. Take my hand if you do.
Oh gosh. You can decide to just kill everybody. Oh my gosh.
We're gonna shake things up. Like old times.
Wow. As you reached out to take the hand. Oh my gosh. Whew. As you reach out to take the hand, you can see that you have like it's the black Typhon material. And obviously that's what they were talking about the whole time. So it's a fantastic twist that the entire world has been taken over by the Typhon at this point. And all because people had just kept trying to use Typhon things, and they'd never using Typhon neuromods, and they had never used human neuromods on a Typhon. But we were that first experiment, and we passed it successfully because we picked the most empathetic path. We always saved people. We were always benevolent, kind, good, helpful, and therefore they chose to keep us alive. I'm curious if we had been evil or vindictive, how the game would have turned out. I mean, we can toy with a little bit of that, going back to the end, but there is so much about this. Wow. That was a great ending. So anyway, the thing I want to talk about, though, with the game is I want to get back to our review. So overall, the presentation was very good. Outside of those load screens, the story I felt was pretty strong. I've heard some people say that they didn't feel attached to characters or characters weren't strong enough. I felt like I had a good grasp of everything going on, and everything in the station to me felt like it had weight and meaning. Like, I cared about what was going on. I don't normally like to exhaust all the side quests in a game, and we left one or two undone, but by and large, like, anything that had to do with people, we did it. And not just for the ending. I found, like, what was going on genuinely interesting. So the presentation, I felt, was really good. Graphically, I felt like the game was okay. I don't feel like this broke the mold or anything like that. I don't even feel like it really stepped up and put itself in that top level graphically, but it didn't really have to. That's not what this game is about. Would have been great, sure, but honestly, you're more in it for the atmosphere, you're more in it for the exploration, the scares, the story, and finding out how your actions affect you and the world around you in the very end. So graphically, it's not bad, but it could be much better in my opinion. Audio, as far as the audio goes, oh, and you know what? And jumping back to graphics, there were a couple things. Frame rates dipped several times during the game for me, and it became a little noticeable. It never really hampered my gameplay, but it was enough that I would definitely notice it from time to time happening. Additionally, there was a couple of bugs in the game, most notably the elevator. When the elevator goes down, oftentimes my character wanted to float up to the roof of the elevator due to the way that they had the physics in the game made, and we didn't keep our feet on the ground, and occasionally we got stuck and had to reload. And that's just it's a small detail, but really that's the kind of thing that really detracts from a game, especially when the load screens are so long, and that will force you to have an extra load screen here and there. So I would say the audio in the game was great. I love the music, like you can hear it now in the background. I love the sound of it. I liked the voice acting a lot. I felt like the performances were heartfelt and emotional, and like these were characters that were well thought out, and I felt like Alex was my brother during the game. Maybe a D-bag of a brother, but he was my brother. So overall I liked all things audio with this. I would give that, probably a solid 9. Let's see. And the gameplay, I love the customization that you have, the ability to control your character and how he shapes, how things unfold, how you shape what your gameplay experience is going to be like. You could definitely go for a lot more Typhon powers than I did, and really almost play this game like some kind of like supernatural sci-fi thriller. There's really a host of options that you can choose there. I also really loved exploring the space station, as I've said so many times. Just finding every little thing. Every time I find a key card that opens a new area, I'm excited. Every time I can find more neuromods or scavenge together enough resources to craft more neuromods, I'm always excited, and they did a really good job of not dumping neuromods too heavily on you at any given point, so that really until the end, it always felt like I was excited to find them, and that there was something I was just itching to unlock because it would unlock my ability to further explore the station. Oh, what else? We've talked about the gameplay and the fighting. We've talked about upgrading and customization. I think one of the faults I find with the game is that, I guess, especially towards the end, well, really throughout the whole story, I felt like the game was almost a little too drawn out. And what I mean by that is, it felt similar to me to a BioShock game, just say, where you've got to search every nook and cranny. So rooms that you would normally move through at a pretty reasonable rate, you're spending an extra minute or two fleshing out areas to find every little thing. And while part of me appreciates that, there's part of me that I remember it was probably like somewhere between 5 and 10 hours in, and I felt like, man, I just haven't really done anything yet. There's times where it feels like it takes a little too long to get to where you're going, and I didn't really mind initially because of the fact that, you get wrapped up in the whole experience. But towards the end of the game, when the side quests are sending you all across the space station, and you've become kind of powerful and things don't matter, and you realize you can just sprint past a lot of it because you know where you're going now. I feel like the game has a hard time holding on to the premise that it sets out to do, the style of gameplay, and eventually it kind of falls apart. Like I said, especially with those load screens. If you had to have a load screen between every section of my review that was a minute and a half, you'd get frustrated pretty quickly if you really wanted to see the whole thing. And that's kind of what happens here with the game. I love the story, and I felt compelled to see everything through to the end, but at the same time, I grew increasingly frustrated and antsy towards the end, rather than just being antsy because I want to see what happens. I grow antsy out of frustration. So overall, this is a game I would recommend, though. It's got its faults, whether it's the frame rates, the graphics aren't anything super special, and especially those load screens being so pesky. It's got its issues, but it's a game I would still recommend. It's a fantastic experience. There are very few games like this that really throw you into a world like this, that lets you explore and lets you start feeling, feeling helpless. And, I haven't talked a lot about with the story about the mystery of the whole thing, but that's a big part of it. So you start out feeling helpless and like you just know nothing, because you kind of start with a blank slate, and you slowly unravel this mystery of what's going on, and it really doesn't come full circle until the very end, to the post-credits scene, that you really grasp exactly what's going on. And very few games do it this well. I think more games just try to give you an experience where you have great gameplay, but this does something else entirely. It gives you a story. Other great games this year that have done things like that is Horizon Zero Dawn, where you have some good gameplay, but there's this incredible story wrapped up in it. And I don't know if I would go so far to say that the story's on that level, but it's a good story. So I'd recommend it. Head out to the stores and pick this one up. I would say soon. It's a game worth playing, and it's a game worth talking about. I played things a certain way, but you can play it your own way, and that's what I really like, is you can play your own way, and you can see what playing your own way, what kind of consequences there are for your actions. And in our case, we got the best possible ending because we helped everybody out, but there were a number of times where it was very tempting to, do something that was something that was more self-serving, and that would change things considerably. So overall, I'm going to give this game, this is tough. I'm floating anywhere between a 78 and an 83, like somewhere between a solid, from a solid C plus to a B or a B minus, and I kind of float in that range. It comes down to whether I want to reflect more on the pain of the load screens, or how much I love the story and how much it changes with the choices you make, and and exploring this big, awesome space station, and the feel that there is to it. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my stamp on this, and I'm going to say that this is an 82, and I'm going to call it a B-. I'm really tempted to give it below an 80, but the story and the choices are just too good. So I know this has been a little drawn out, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys for watching. Honored to have you with us on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll make sure that we keep plenty of videos coming your way. We play through most all of the new games that come out that are big releases. So subscribe, and we'll make sure to keep plenty of solid content coming your way. I'll also have the other endings coming in a future episode here pretty soon. Let's see, next up, make sure to give us a thumbs up as well. Don't forget to do that. And if you leave us a comment, let us know what you think of the game or how you've liked everything. I'll try to get back to you pretty quickly. So until next time, this is Savage Sasquatch for GamingReportCard.com, and I am out of here.